This is the winner's match, starring two dudes who are full of win. Harang 2 versus Zero on Neo Electric Circuit. I was mentioning earlier about Harang's best matchup being versus Protoss, but that's also Zero's best matchup. So I'm sure that Harang is kind of sweating it out a bit. He's really going to have to apply himself to take down a player like Zero, who has been one of the most consistent Zerg players ever, in my humble opinion. Mid 50% win records across the board. It's a very GG Play-esque record, but here we go. Except, down at the 8 o'clock position in Teal is Harang. That means up at the 2 o'clock is Zero. Now I was mentioning Zero's consistency. Despite having a losing record in the last Pro League season, I think he remains a very consistent player. Very GG Play-esque, as I said, or at least GG Play before his backslide near the end of his career. You can draw a lot of parallels, actually, between GG Play and Zero, which is why I kind of compared the two in a video I made a long time ago called Broodling Bloodlines. It's been a long time since I watched that video, but that video basically set up Zero as the next GG Play. And I think a lot of those parallels have held up over the years since I made that video. They're both kind of unassuming guys, wear glasses, look very approachable, very nice, but they both have terrifying mid-game control of their units. And that's helped them both succeed quite a bit. Even though GG Play is retired now because of carpal tunnel syndrome, yeah, he will always be remembered for his excellent Dom OSL final, which is probably the best final, well, my personal favorite OSL final, probably. I've cast quite a few good ones as well, like Jaedong versus Fantasy, just last season, Fantasy versus Jangbi. But I don't know, Iris versus GG Play was unexpectedly awesome. So that one kind of has a special place in my heart, even though I did not commentate it. Ranchin did, in Russian though. So if you speak Russian, go over to Ranchin DA's channel and check that out. I did not understand a word of it. I actually watched some of that final, just kind of sitting there, trying to understand what I could. I heard my name once. It was like a bunch of Russian and then Nuke the Stars. I was like, oh, he's talking about me. Probably dissing me in the process, but anyway. Yes, GG Play to Zero. And the other comparison, Savior to Effort, I think that one held up. And the other one was July to Hero. I didn't quite have foresight with that one, but okay. The cannon coming down secondary again for Harang. He's playing it pretty risky again. Once again, if it had been a 5-pull opening, Harang would be completely screwed. He would not have the cannon in time, but there we go. Zero is not going for a 5-pull, so he's safe. And now Harang going out to scout, scouting up to the 10 o'clock position, not going to find much up there. But there's the, see the extractor in the spawning pool for Zero. Gateway at the front, of course, to help out with the blocking. It's always tough for the different maps to try to figure out what kind of block you need. I can never figure that out when I play on Icy Cup or anything like that on any maps. I guess since these guys practice 13 hours a day, of course they know where to position, where to exactly position the forge and the gateway and make use of all the blocking area they can. But I can never figure that stuff out. My brain is just not honed to the intricacies of the Brood War building layout, even though I've been playing it all these years. But anyway. Second base, up, mining for Zero. He's going to try to intercept, almost intercepts that probe. The Zerglings just weren't quite in time to keep that probe out of there, so it is going to get a bit of scouting information. Seeing the Hydralisk Den coming up for Zero. He's going to start off with some early Hydra pressure. Thinking about a Hydra bust of the front, I think. Yeah, starting it off with the Hydra Den, but Zero is a player who's been known to switch that up and play mind games. I've seen him throw down a Hydra Den and switch into just his Spire for Mutas. He's been known to do that. But I haven't seen the Spire yet, and he usually builds them at the same time for that kind of fake-out. So who knows. Robotics facility at the front for Harang. Gonna try a Corsair Reaver opening, I think. Since he's putting the robotics right at the natural, it indicates Reavers, because you want to have your Reavers at the front to fight off a Hydra attack. And since this is early Hydras, this is going to be a tight defense for Harangue. Yeah, this would be incredibly hard for him to defend against without a lot of cannons. But we'll see what he decides to do. The third base up and mining for Zero. Has that gun. He actually had his third up first before that natural. But there comes some more hatcheries for him. He's going to focus on Hydras and Hydras alone, I think. Haven't seen them yet, but he's been working on just getting up the drones for those bases right now. See, one lone Dragoon just moving out into the map. That's interesting. I guess the Dragoon might be looking for Overlords or something. Obviously, Harangue scouted the Hydralisk den, so it's kind of unusual that he's moving forward with the Dragoon already. I think he's mostly using this Dragoon for scouting purposes, unusually enough. Getting the scout, making sure that Zero is focusing on Hydras, which he is. Focusing on the Hydras, and now the Hydra's going to chase the Dragoon probably all the way back to that natural. There's the robotic support bay, so we're going to see the Reaver soon. Let's see if the Reaver will be first or the shuttle. This could be critical timing. If the Reaver is first, I think that Harangue will be okay. If his shuttle is first, this could play out completely differently. It's natural expansion and completely not in his favor at all. We'll have to see. But still just the two cannons for Harangue. There's the shuttle out first. So no Reavers to protect this front right now. So Harangue is going to lose two tech buildings at the front. Well, two buildings at the front. Going to lose his forge and the gateway. So the forge was not even spinning. It would not last too long anyway because of this assault from the Hydras. His Zero staying just out of range of that cannon, barely out of range. Well, catching one Hydra there, but getting as close as he can without getting into the cannon range. Now, Zero is probably going to attack soon because of the limited defenses. He needs to get some scouting, though, and find out where the Reaver is. And what he has going for him. Here comes the Reaver. It's going to have the Scarab soon to protect this base. Very quick reaction from Zero. Pulls back as soon as the Scarab starts heading towards his Hydras. So he still has a grouping of Hydras outside of this natural expansion. And the shuttle is actually moving out with the Reaver. So this is a very risky play from Harangue. In all of his games today, it seems, he still doesn't have a lot of cannons at the front, and he's moving out for harassment with the Reaver. So, man, this is risky. He's not going to have the Reaver at home for any defense against the huge amount of Hydras. Hydras intercepting. Look at that quick reaction from Zero. Finds the shuttle immediately and kind of chases it around a bit. And he knows it's coming, so he's going for the natural expansion right now, breaking through just the two cannons that are there, and the Reaver being dropped inside the main a bit. But the loss of the shuttle dooms that Reaver at the front, and the Reaver, I think, got one more good Scarab off at the natural before it went down. But look at the huge amount of Hydras. This is plenty of Hydras to break through this natural, and no more robotics. So that's it. GG from Harangue. It's kind of a questionable decision to move out for harassment at that time. But he still had one Reaver to defend by the time Zero broke through. Could have used those cannons, though. So Zero moves out into the round of 16. Let's move on to the losers game.